the question I have with Kalen DeBoer being hired, and blame Caleb for this because he brought it up. He said Kalen DeBoer, his IQ is closer to Butch Jones or Nick Saban. I don't know about IQ, but I did dive into it last night, and I I have to say that he's closer to Butch Jones barely. And here's why. I think he is a guy that has an offensive system that's good but not great. I think that he's not an incredibly innovative thinker by any stretch of the imagination. As far as recruiting, which Butch Jones would oftentimes inflate his numbers by calling recruiting services and having them change the recruiting ranking. Yeah, I don't see that Kalen DeBoer is a fantastic recruiter. I think Washington was what in the 40s for 2024. I think they were
Yeah, but
41.
I'm not going to hold that against him because recruiting is so much. It's so much more about the program you're at than about the actual coaching the actual recruiting you yourself do. I'm just going to point that out. Like,
Well, that's fine, and player development's something too. But again, I don't see him as an elite recruiter. He was 26th for the 2023 class. So, yeah, I think that if I had to pick, I don't know IQ. You can go that route if you want to, but I'm going to go along the lines of as a coach. I think he's closer. I've just changed my mind. He's closer to Nick Saban. He played for a championship. I mean, come on. Butch Jones was never, ever, ever going to play for a national title.
So Kalen DeBoer.
Give me a clearer look at that. Brought to you by Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Haun. Enjoy life better when you see better. Local vision service for LASIK, cataract surgery, and regular eye examination. ccteyes.com, ccteyes.com. So I'm going closer to Saban. I just talked myself out of it.
I don't know why you're so disrespectful of Butch Jones. He won a national title as an analyst at Alabama.
My bad. Did he get a ring for that?
Yes. No, the most humiliating was in 2018 after he got fired by Tennessee and he was an analyst at Alabama and Alabama blows out Tennessee. They gave him a cigar and it's like, dude, you're smoking a cigar for blowing out a Tennessee team that you're responsible for putting together, bro. But yeah, he did that. Look, he's not as thin-skinned as Butch Jones, okay? He's not going to be as annoying in press conferences and as thin-skinned as Butch Jones. But there are in-game basic mistakes, having watched some Kalen DeBoer this year, and after I finally watched Washington on a national scale in the playoffs, there were some in-game basic mistakes that are very, shall we say, Butch Jones-esque. They're very Mario Cristobal-esque. Could I go Mario Cristobal for IQ? Or is Mario Cristobal on Butch Jones' level of IQ too? They're about the same IQ.
I don't know. I actually was high on Cristobal for a while, and I'm not now. Over the past 3 years, I've changed my thoughts on that.
Okay, so I think when I watch Kalen DeBoer against Texas, there was sometimes one play. You say that all the time, the Joe Milton running out of bounds play. When Kalen DeBoer ran a play that allowed Texas a chance to get back into the game rather than run out the clock, I have to be honest with you, Dave. Yeah, that very much made me think that this dude ain't the brightest bulb in the box. And how do you make that decision when you've already seen Mario Cristobal lose a game doing it?
Yeah,
in the
and
year.
We are talking relative. But just in, a lot of college football coaches aren't brainiacs, okay? But I do think Nick Saban was one of the smarter ones. So I would have the fact that he, even though I think so highly of Nick Saban, I would have Kalen DeBoer closer to Saban than Butch Jones. I also don't know his sociopathic tendencies, so that's a whole nother question for another
He's
day.
above Butch Jones, clearly. That part's clear. So, like, yeah,
Yes.
I'm not going to say yeah. So I don't think he's a sociopath.
Just closer to is what you're
yes.
pointing at.
Like, if Saban's, like, up here, the standard of genius, and, like, Butch Jones is, like, way, way, way down below, it's like, okay, if Kalen DeBoer... Because I do think, you're right, I think, as little as I think of college coaches and their intellect, I actually think Nick Saban is a really, really, really smart person. I don't know if you
Probably
agree,
too.
but I actually think I think he's in like the top 1% of intelligence in the country. Honestly,
I think he's very bright. He loved football. Had he loved, I don't know, aerospace engineering, he would have been good at that. Smoky Mountain Red Post, major shift coming for Alabama fans. Lose a legend, and the DeBoer is basically bringing in a whole new staff. The DeBoer, I like that. He's the DeBoering. Um, this may be a topic for another day, but what's more difficult to overcome? What Tennessee went through with Jeremy Pruitt and NCAA issues, or losing a legend like Nick Saban?
I don't think it's difficult to overcome losing a legend. I genuinely think that's overrated. I want to be honest with you.
100% disagree, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think the Jeremy Pruitt stuff and what he inherited, and what Josh Heupel inherited is much more difficult. Now, I think Alabama is a more difficult job right now than Tennessee was in 2021, but not because you're replacing a legend at Alabama, because Alabama doesn't have the infrastructure to be great right now, guys. They don't have a top 20 NIL collective. Their boosters are cheap, and their boosters are dumb enough to think that they can still win just by being Alabama. They genuinely think, I'm telling you guys this, and you will see it. They delusionally think players are going to take a NIL discount to play for Alabama. The boosters actually think that.
Yeah, that's not going to happen anymore. Those days are over. No question about it.
It is.
Okay, so for tomorrow, let's do this. For tomorrow, I want to get into discussion what is more difficult to overcome: the Pruitt scenario or losing a legend. Can we do that? Because you and I legitimately, genuinely, completely 100% disagree on this. So I'm excited for this.
All right, that's fine.
But I want to do my research, because especially on Tuesdays, because when you wear the sport coat, you scare me. You look smarter. You look smarter than DeBoer.
I wear a sport coat on Wednesday too, bro. So you're still going to be scared. You're talking to an 8-leg parlay winner over the weekend. You sure you want to debate me? But yeah, I think let's. Okay.
You think why? Go ahead.
I didn't say Saban was the first to bring in analysts. Saban was the first to realize that you could.
Well, no. I've said that. Yeah, I was just going to address that. Go ahead and finish your thought, and then I'll address this comment real quick. Or were you talking about?
Oh no, I was just trolling about how smart I am. So you can go ahead and.
There you go.
The comment.
Caleb mentioned Saban was the first to bring analysts into college football. Does Tennessee use a lot of analysts as well? They use quite a few. Every Saban was the first. There are quite a few programs, all of them now, that use several analysts. I think that Tennessee has roughly 6 or 8. Oftentimes, the reasoning behind analysts and going to get those guys is to have extra coaches on the field. Now, that's an NCAA violation, and you could get busted for that. But that's the same reason that Nick Saban made attending practice a non-issue, because he closed practice. So you could basically go out there and see him stretch, and then that's all you could see. And then the analyst would run out there. Tennessee has done that in the past, and that is an NCAA violation. It was under a previous coach. I don't know if they do that now, but a lot of people do. So as soon as they close practice, the NCAA only allows you a certain number of coaches on the field, and Nick Saban found the loophole around that, and that was to hire them as analysts. And if you think about it, it was one of the smartest things ever done in Nick Saban's career, and one of the smartest things in football, even though it's cheating, is because you have how many players on an NFL team? 45? 53. Is that the roster? 53. So you have 53, and you have literally 20 coaches. I mean, one for 2 dudes. You got 100 guys if you include the walk-ons in college football, and you're allowed 9 coaches on the field. I mean, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, it's funny because I just, on a side note, because he's talking about the video I did on Sunday of what made Nick Saban so great. The two most genius things Saban did to make him great, Dave, both came from his experience in the NFL. Because one was, he learned about the analyst thing when he was with the Dolphins. That's what he kind of learned. That's where he learned about the analysts. Because as you know, NFL teams have so many analysts on top of all the coaches they have. And so he realized he could do that for college if he was smart about how to approach it. But the pattern matching, which you explained to me on coaching defensive backs, which for those who don't know, pattern matching is you play man, but then when you play zone when the play starts, but once the receiver breaks, you switch to man once he breaks on his route. Saban came up with that because the Steelers used to run 4 verticals with Neil O'Donnell back in the early 90s, and the cover 2 wasn't enough to contain that. And so, yeah, that's by the way, the pattern matching is why the Patriots used to shut down Peyton Manning in the early 2000s, because Bill Belichick figured it out while working with Saban.
Good stuff.
And
You need to check out those videos. They're fantastic. So what do we have up right now that people can check out and learn a little bit about some Tennessee SEC history? Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Turn your notifications on so that you know that you're getting the very latest. Caleb's putting out some great stuff. So what do we have out there now that people need to check out?
Yeah, so Nick Saban right now, what we have out right now is that I might just blank a little bit. It's what made Nick Saban such a great coach. And it's a combination of him figuring things out like analyst and pattern matching, also his organizational skills, him being uniquely qualified to run the offense and coach defense, but also, look, there's a little bit of timing and luck involved too. He took the LSU job at the right time. And there's no debate. As far as
Jason calling you out, by the way, saying 18 parlay should be around 150 to 1. So what's wrong with you?
Jason, the trick on the 18 parlay, the trick on parlays when you do giant legs like that is you do alternate spreads that are much more likely to hit. But if you do a bunch of them, you still get a pretty big payout.
My gosh, you start talking gambling and my eyes glaze over.
But
I'll tell you what.
I will say,
okay, go ahead.
I think that Kalen DeBoer is closer to Butch Jones in trying to figure out that math, though, because he doesn't know that you should take a knee when you have the lead in the ball.
I don't know that I could figure out that math, and I've had my IQ tested. I know what it is. It's not bad. I don't know that I could do that. Some of the gambling stuff confuses me. My brain just doesn't work like that. I'll tell you.
But they tried to give Kalen DeBoer credit for playing for a national title. Do we have to go down the list of coaches who have won national titles in college, Dave? You know, there's this guy at Miami in 2001 that I might just leave him alone. But you know, that you and I could have won. I'm sorry.
He had a pretty good group.